This is a disaster. I'm so late. What am I going to do? Nevins, you're such a fool. I can't believe I lost track of the rabbit hole again, and now I'm late. Oh, hello. Oh, pardon me. You wouldn't have happened to see a rabbit hole anywhere nearby? Of course not. Oh, I'm late. Honestly, I haven't even the time to explain it all to you, so... There it is! I found it. How delightful. Well, what are you doing just standing there? You're going to be late too, you know. If you must ask questions, ask them while we're falling. Go on then. Or stay behind and be even later. I'm certainly glad you decided to join me after all. No. You're asking all the wrong sorts of questions. You ought to be asking where you're going to find a return in time for the party or something like that. You won't find much while we're falling, amidst all these knickknacks and whatnots. What's a return? Oh my, you really do come unprepared. I can see all the flurry rushing through your mind, love. There's nothing left to do now but wait for the fall to be over. But that won't be for a long while yet, so you may as well relax. I can see that I'll have to convince you. Take my hand. We are falling here together, down a rabbit hole that you keep calling impossible. What does impossible mean, love? It's something that can't exist, so of course this is all possible. It is existing now. It does exist. And we're going down together. We're tied here, you and I, to the same fate. At least for now. Our fate is to continue falling, of course. Unless someone should see fit to play around with the gravity, in which case we wouldn't be falling any longer. But that's not too likely. Dee and Dum just messed with it yesterday, so it's too soon for a repeat encounter. And of course, a repeat encounter is another thing that is not impossible. Just how it could be possible that this may not be the first time you and I are here, falling together deeper into this place. And it wouldn't be impossible, I think, to begin to enjoy this sensation of falling. A person could enjoy just about anything once they got used to it. Getting used to the feeling of air rushing past as we fall is not a difficult thing at all. And once you get used to the falling feeling, it may even begin to feel comfortable, and as you get comfortable, well, of course you would begin to enjoy it. It's so easy to enjoy something that you are comfortable with. As easy as falling deeper still. As easy as letting go of those strands of hesitation and doubt you were insisting upon. Well, you don't need to insist anymore. In fact, I insist that you desist your insisting. You don't mean to be insistent? All the better. Ceasing to insist upon silly things makes the falling ever easier, and the easier the fall, the faster you go. That's how you get anywhere here, you know. You just have to let it happen and accept your fate, which is my fate too. So even if you can't accept your fate, I'm sure you'd accept mine for me, and I'll accept yours for you. And we'll both fall oh so quickly and easily into that most enjoyable feeling. The air can actually be quite refreshing, especially as the heart pounds so. You feel it too? You thought it was fear. My dear, lend me your ear. A racing heart can come with fear, I don't deny it. But consider how many other times the heart will race. Falling in love, falling down a rabbit hole, and most of all, falling head first into excitement. Nothing gets my heart pounding faster than that first spark of curiosity. What will it be like? How wonderful can it possibly be? And the excitement just builds and builds as I fall deeper and deeper until I can't help but accept, remember, accepting, that feeling. And then I can't help but relax into that feeling of falling so deeply into something so grand and unknown and spectacular. And it's quite safe, you know. No one's ever died from falling down a rabbit hole, least of all a rabbit like myself. And your fate is mine, love, so of course there's nothing to fear here. Your heart has been pounding all this time falling. It's time to accept it. Remember, accepting. And relax into the feeling. Falling ever so deeper, unfathomably deep. Not impossibly deep, love, just unfathomably, ineffably, unsoundably deep. And as long as we're here, falling and falling and falling, you can find yourself going deeper. Before the journey is over, I wonder just how deep you'll go. Who are you? If that is all you have to say, then I shouldn't be surprised that you are here. It seems you still have a long way to go before you're really you. Though I suppose you can't help but be you. Even if sometimes you didn't feel like you, or didn't know what was you, or even couldn't tell another who is you. I am who I always was, and who I will always be. I am the babe who was born one day. I am anyone but me. I am all the choices I will take, endless possibility. I am all the memories I make, everything you do not see. Some refer to me as Absum, classify me caterpillar. If you defined me by this alone, I'd beg you reconsider. You're on your way to a party, but you've lost your guide and your way. That can make it rather difficult to know who you are, being lost. But I think it is good that you are here. It is quite clear to me that you need some time to yourself. And I do believe that this is a good place for you to enjoy that time. I keep it smoky in here for a reason. You'll get a good dose soon enough. Just continue to breathe. You can begin to let go of all those important and unimportant things. I am well respected. No one will bother you here, and if someone tried, all of this could simply be gone, dissipated into the air like smoke on a breeze. But that would only happen if it was truly necessary, and seeing as it isn't necessary now, you and I will simply continue our little dance, flirting the realm of identity and possibility. It seems to me that you have woven a net too tightly around yourself for whatever reason. You have become caught in your own trap. But the threads are beginning to loosen. I can see that. And as you continue to breathe, you will gain the ability to see. You can watch each strand float away from you, one by one. And what a world opens up before your fresh eyes. You can see that world differently. You can see yourself differently. Walk further into that smoke and upon a field of mirrors, none quite alike. And the images within are all you. Yet none are the same either. All the ways in which you see yourself are presented here, and the mirror that is directly in front of you now is going dark. You have nothing more to see from it, nothing more to learn. So perhaps you may move on to another mirror. But that one is fading too, and the world is feeling farther away now as mirrors disappear one by one until you stand alone in this field. Let go. You can let go of your shell. It is easy to become attached to the body when it is the only thing you know. We forget that we are piloting a body. You can let go of your mind. The thoughts were like quicksand. But you are holding a rope, and I am pulling you out. Let go. You stand in an empty field, and you are feeling and seeing and smelling things, and I am feeling and seeing and smelling the same things. We are linked, you and I, by awareness. You are aware. I am aware. the same. There are flowers in this field. You may or may not have recognized what kind. They are poppy flowers, and a thin, delicate haze of smoke is rising from each blossom. Poppy flowers make you sleep, so it won't be long before even the awareness goes dark for a time. As you float further down, after that lovely time, you will be able to see your world anew. You will be able to find brand new mirrors, to continue seeing yourself in new ways, seeing the possibilities for growth and change, seeing ways to become more yourself than you have ever been, seeing new ways to answer that question. Confidently, happily, marvelously enjoying who you are.
I do believe you might be wondering why I asked you to step aside. We were all having a glorious time at tea, I know. You gave me the most wonderful return. I had forgotten I even lost that hat, but I do love it so dearly. Yes, it has been such a good time. So I must ask that you forgive me. I simply needed to be alone with you for a spell. You are one of the muchier people I've known, but you still have farther to go. I hope you didn't think that this party would be the end of your journey. There is still deeper on and further in, for you especially. But I shouldn't have brought that up just yet. Too easy for us hatters to get ahead of ourselves. You don't need to be thinking of what's coming next, my darling. I want you here with me. It is, after all, your unbirthday, a most precious day to celebrate. And though we were having plenty of revelry and wildness at the table, I thought, well, I suppose I felt that you weren't getting enough of it, of the appreciation. I wanted to lead you aside, as I have, to a place where you can look into my eyes and see only me. Every lovable and unlovably lovable part of me, to a place where I can look deep into your eyes and see all of you. And I hope you might allow me to lead you a little further on to an ordinary place where there are 2 cozy little armchairs. The upholstery is a bit worn, and there's a scratch where Cheshire was kneading, but the chairs are next to a warm fireplace. There's an old gate on the hearth, so the wind can't blow any coals into the grass. and there might be a few stars winking above us somewhere, even if the clouds cover them up sometimes. Go on, settle in then. I wonder if there might be a footrest somewhere about. Ah, there it is. Feel free to lounge. I'm certain you'll find that there is no end to the comfort that chair can provide, supporting your body in all the right places, with just the right amount of plushness. And of course it's delightfully warmed, as it was sitting by the fire all this time. Such a good fire. That's the kind of fire that I like to see in people, you know. Warm and full of vitality, calmer at times, and sparking others. It looks like this is one of those calmer times, when the flames burn low and steady, emitting a constant, soft glow, inescapable. I wonder, my darling, how much sense do you have in your head? How long would it take for the fire to burn it out? Things don't always need to make sense. In fact, things shouldn't always make sense. I am of the opinion that people often opine that things should make sense. And when people believe that things should make sense, they are much more likely to, as they say, make it make sense. In which case, there would be a lot of things that people twisted and hammered and squeezed until somehow they found a particular shape. And people could say, this makes sense. And it doesn't make sense the way that when I see you, some part of me, deep and dark and never known, wants to twist and hammer and squeeze you into a shape that is all mine, forever. So I pour those feelings onto the fire every day, watching the flame dance, and I let it burn the sense out of me. I watch that fire until it doesn't make sense anymore. How could it move without life? If wind is breath, fire must be soul. That undefinable thing that makes no sense, that thing that brings us to life. Soul, passion, desire, hope. You can let all the tension and all the sense bleed from your body. Feed it into the fire. You don't need it. You're in Wonderland. You're with your hatter. You are resting, safe, by a cozy fire on an ordinary evening where nothing and everything makes sense. One of the widest spread bouts of nonsense that I have ever seen is that creeping, slow-growing, self-fed madness called sadness. Too many people have been fed this idea that they have fed and let fester, that, for some reason or another, they should be sad. Why? But do not even ask the question, no, because the question begs the response, and the response, more often than not, is somebody non-thinkingly making it make sense. Some say they are an empath. They have taken on others' sadness. I say, you have the power to hold boundaries for yourself, and if you insist on empathy, take on the world's happiness. My family wanted to leave the hatting business, and they told me to leave with them. They could not be happy in a profession that caused others to call them mad. They took on others' hatred and sadness. But this was when I was young, and being a hatter was the only thing I knew of happiness. I told them I will not go, and if you force my hand, I will leave you all behind for what I need. They forced my hand, so I left, by staying in place, staying in my happiness, and letting them leave it to find their own. Those are a few examples of many, but the rot grows further still, because in many cases, these sensible people wanted to keep their sadness. They liked holding their sadness, kept it fed and sheltered, and when someone came knocking to take the sadness out, they locked the door, shuttered the blinds, closed their ears, hardened their hearts. They stubbornly dug a deeper hole and filled it with reasons. You have let so much sense burn out of you by now, so I'm sure you can see the sadness that you held on to doesn't belong in this house. You can feed it to the fire, clear the field, and let me plant little seeds of happiness. It will be up to you to tend to them, water them with attention, beam upon them with warm rays of love, prune any strands that might try to pull you off track. You can help those seeds grow big and bright, help them multiply, help them flower, help them fruit, and the love and attention that you receive from others, that can be easier to recognize, easier to pay attention to, even when it comes in forms you don't expect. That love and attention that you receive, that can feed the seeds as well. One thing that I like to remember is how good it is to breathe. To know that I can continue to have oxygen flowing through my body. That is a very wonderful thing indeed. But we should probably get back to the party soon. I'm just realizing I don't recall ever telling you my name. And, well, I think it's something you ought to know. It's Rathet. The name is Rathet. And it's yours now. dear. Where are you looking? My eyes are up here. You seem a little focused, darling. I have something to tell you. Perhaps you should get a little unfocused so that you can listen. Maybe you're not hearing what I have to say properly. I'm speaking truth for you, my dear. By the by, you wouldn't happen to know why a raven is like a writing desk, asking for a friend, but now we're focusing on the right thing again. So tell me, which path do you want to take? A more complicated question will do. Where do you want to end up? I think you want to settle down a little and unfocus and rethink and slide down into that unfocused non-thinking. Cherry picking or berry picking, which do you prefer? The first is more useful here. You might want to find a basket for my words. It would take some serious focus for you to berry pick your way around my meaning, so I would advise you take the easy path and unfocus and cherry pick instead. What is nonsense? What leads to non-thinking? I think you are already thinking. Something in you knows how to find the important among unimportant rhyme, unfocusing more as the glow of my eyes wraps you up, all fuzzy inside. And as you begin to feel better, you know it's the result of all that non-thinkingly slow dripping and dropping you're doing, my darling. A puddle you'll make no sooner than morning, and once rhyme begins, it's harder to stop, even if nonsense making leads you to drop deeper and darker, harder to stand this wonderful feeling here under the land. It can be so easy to unfocus and float around for a while, not caring where your head nor your tail is at the particular moment. And the awareness might be separate from the body, so the unbody can disthink and re-know that you are still falling. You are still that you who is falling. And the body knows where it is and is floating comfortably, so you do not have to know that the nonsense I am spinning might be getting you quite dizzy from easy truth and hazy bliss. But spinning as you are, slowly and gently, is a wonderful way to unfocus. And maybe sometimes you might begin to spin again in the other direction, which prevents unwanted feelings from tumbling down the hill with you. And some parts of you might rearrange a little in that scumbling tumble and get shuffled around, reorganized so the important things are always easy to find: pleasure, perspective, connection, and such, right on the very front of the shelf. And of course, next to the basket of nonsense. It can be easy to remember to forget, to remember to forget that the path you take doesn't matter, as long as you know where you're going. Because when you see where you're going, you can find all the possible ways to get there. And where you're going doesn't matter as long as you know the path you wish to take. Because when it doesn't matter where you end up, it doesn't really matter where you go. The only thing to do is to choose a direction and enjoy yourself. Go on now, dear. Choose your direction or your destination. Whichever one you choose to choose, you'll get where you need to go. And I'm sure I'll see you later, even if you don't quite see me. My ancient foe, you have arrived before your time. Or perhaps I am too late. Too late to move and delay this unavoidable road that you walk me down. Look upon me. You have been taught that I am the one to fear, to hunt, to slay. What do you see? Do you hear anything you can recognize? Intelligence, gentleness, calm. They say I am the beast, and yet I would not be surprised if you were the one smelling my fear. What is there for me to be afraid of? What is there for you to be afraid of? Nothing. And nothing. But although nothing is a thing that can be feared, it is a small thing that some might even find silly to fear. It can be so easy to create something where there once was nothing. And in creating something, you have proven that the fear of nothing is small and unneeded, as it is so easy for you to diminish. And in creating something, you have also proven that there is nothing to fear. You have traveled far to find me. Though I am not the root of this place, I am, in a sense, its body. When I die, your time in Wonderland ends, which is almost as though Wonderland ceases to exist. Because what could Wonderland mean with no one to visit it? To stir up change, thought, joy, to bring freedom, to become new, to remind us of the important things, to spark life and love. What is Wonderland without you? You can stir change in the world. You can invoke thought and contemplate thought. You can embody joy. You can bring freedom to yourself and others. You can become newer and newer versions of yourself every day. You can remember what is important. You can carry that spark of life within you cherish it, love others, and love yourself. You can do all of these things, and that is what makes you Alice. No matter what your name actually is, or what you like to call yourself, or what others call you, you are Wonderland's Alice. That flavor of courage and curiosity, of finding new ways to fix old problems, of taking new paths and learning new things, of finding old fears and realizing that you don't need to be afraid, and that you are ready to let go of the sense that you made of things that really shouldn't make sense. I am certain that you are nearly ready to let go of me as well. And perhaps you are thinking about your friends in Wonderland. What will become of them? Only time will tell. And you being Alice, I suppose, you can visit them whenever you like, even once I am slain, which you will soon be ready to do, I know. It's all right. It won't hurt. It is one of those small things that needn't be feared. Though I was feeling a little apprehensive, it's easier now that you are here. And it's so easy to forget about the end when you are so busy being, enjoying the being, enjoying the living, focusing on all the wonderful things that you are, that you do, that makes you. You thought I was fearsome, but as it often turns out, things are less scary than they seem. It's time for you to bring your dose of unreality back with you, to change your world for the better. And as you are ready now to complete this rendition of Alice in Wonderland, I know that you will say, "I slay you, Jabberwock." And once you do, the dream will fade, and you will wake, rested, refreshed, ready to reorient and readjust your body and attend to any of your needs or desires. Thank you, Alice. It's time to slay me, and you can take all the time that you need to do it. Goodbye.